Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dychronic, your host here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at This Week at Bungie for October 17, 2019. This Week at Bungie, basically their news post about Destiny 2 in the past week, current week, and the next few weeks of Destiny 2. And of course, my versions of the TWAB are going to be your audible versions, including a bunch of cute animals near the beginnings of a lot of my videos, so sit back, enjoy, open your eyes, then close them again as you listen to what I got to say. For the most part, I would say there's an average amount of information, but the biggest bulk of this TWAB is actually a series of different cinematic pictures. That's why it looks long, but the biggest words section is something I'm gonna have to paraphrase and summarize a lot. So there's a lot of cool stuff. Let's go ahead and get started. And of course, on screen now, you can see the full calendar of what's going on in the next 2 months of Destiny 2 following Shadowkeep. You can see next week starts off the exotic quest line, the Leviathan's Breath. Bow is supposed to be a heavy bow, so that's kind of cool to think about. The new Master Nightmare Hunts, the hardest difficulty, hopefully with the better rewards. And then after that, the week after that, it's going to be the start of the Festival of Light, the new dungeon, and all that whatnot. Just a couple of great things to coming in the future. First and foremost, just something I did want to mention is that as far as that exotic quest for Leviathan's Breath, that will be starting at Banshee. So as soon as next week turns around, go to Banshee, he'll have the start of the quest. On top of that, if you are looking to get the Bungie Bounty and get this exclusive emblem that you can only get from the Bungie Bounty, this is the new Year 3 version of it, you have to join the Big Show, which is a very big WWE wrestler. In PS4, they're going to be playing some Vex Offensive and Strikes. All you have to do is join them for those things, to actually get in a game with them, and you'll be awarded a free emblem when they actually hand them out. Next up, let's move on to Shifting Sands. Well, something very important to know as we go through this TWAB is going to be update 2.6.1. We're going to be mentioning this update multiple times through this TWAB. All you need to know is that it is coming out October 29th, so in about 1.5 weeks from now, we'll be seeing this update released. But remember this number, because we'll be mentioning it a few times, and this entire TWAB has a lot of focus around what's coming in this update. The first section here for that update, 2.6.1, is talking about the super energy refunding skills. Skills like Trample and Everlasting Flames. This is going to be the Striker bottom tree and the Dawnblade bottom tree. That has to do with getting kills with your super to extend your super. They gave Trample a big buff a few months ago, then they nerfed it after it was a little too much of infinite killing, and now what it seems like is they want to bring it back to a little bit more of a middle zone. Honestly, I'm a bit confused by all of the numbers here, because reducing the possible return you get from 15 to 13 seems worse, and reducing the diminishing return low end from 5 to 3.25% seems worse. It seems like they're making it worse, but they said they're making it better. So I may be understanding what this line means incorrectly, but this 2 paragraphs says that they're making them better. Allow Guardians to keep on dunking on combatants for longer without being less oppressive against one another. Seems like they're improving it. But I don't really know what's going on. On top of that, they're also going to be nerfing the General Striker light attack, where they made it so it only took up 2% every time you used your melee attack, meaning that you could basically just chase people down across the map by using that light attack without worrying at all. They're just basically increasing that to 3%, which is not a lot, but it is 50% more than it was before. So it still should be viable, just a little bit less. On top of that, there's a couple of quality of life and bug fixes for a couple of different other supers. The Armor of Light timer will now correlate with the life of Ward of Dawn. Instead of being a 15-second cycle, it seems like it'll just be you go in once and you'll have the full timer for the entire time that bubble is active. On top of the fact, they're also going to be fixing the Shattering Strike from the Wave the Wraith Hunter subclass in Night Stalker, to make it so that it's not as buggy and the activation window will be reduced. Apparently there's an issue with Shattering Strike, make it so it didn't last as long as it should, and the activation window was also shorter than it should have been. Apparently it should be the proper 9 seconds once again. And then lastly, apparently an issue with the shoulder charge that allowed Titans to apparently shoot right before they click the melee button, activate a shoulder charge while they were sprinting to activate that 1-2 punch damage bonus. And on top of the shoulder charge hit, on top of being able to use things like Peregrine Greaves, which already makes your damage like 5 times as much, people were absolutely slaying bosses like ridiculous fast with this. I didn't actually get to try this, but it is something that sounded very alluring. If only I were to get a 1-2 punch shotgun to drop. I swear, I'm never gonna get one again. I deleted one on like the 3rd day because I didn't know what it was, and then I never got it again. On top of that, there's a couple of other miscellaneous things that are gonna be changing. Here's a patch note preview of some of the things coming in that update that I mentioned before, 2.6.1. Apparently there's going to be some HUD changes so that the Forsaken subclasses will now correctly display in the super icon in the PvP HUD, whereas before, if you had the Way of 1,000 Voices, it would still be a picture of a golden gun in the bottom left. They're going to be fixing that to make it so it's the appropriate picture. Apparently there's an issue where Warlocks wagering a weak mote in Reckoning were rewarded Titan gear. I've never actually seen this, but that's funny. Fixing an issue where there's increased load times during the gear preview while in spaceflight. I see and do this all the time by accident. On top of that, during spaceflight, players should notice their character models update more quickly when changing gear, previewing ornaments, previewing shaders and whatnot. I like looking at this stuff while flying, and you can't do that. And then lastly, in this section, Phantasmal Core cap raised from 3 to 999, which is so much better. My postmaster is just flooded by these phantasmal cores, both the blue and the purple variety, so this is much better. On top of that, apparently they're adding a lot of functionalities to a bit of a text stream for Steam, allowing you to add friends, remove friends in text chat by hitting /add friend or inviting or whatever. I don't really see the purpose. There's usually buttons for this, but that is available now. In this next section, there's going to be a lot of spoilers to the story, so if you haven't finished the main story, and once you get the exotic for your specific class, that means you've seen most of the story. You don't have to worry about spoilers here, but I just wanted to mention, spoiler alert, this next section shows off a lot of cinematic shots that are taken by the community of the different areas, as well as nice little previews of weapons. I love this for thumbnails and whatnot. Apparently there's a lot of them. I don't know where this barge shot was taken. It was not taken on Nessus, that's for sure. But there's just a lot of them. Like I said, the bulk of this actual... I love this picture, by the way. I love the Darkness ship. That's such a cool shot. Oh, and I like this. I'm going to use this for sure. There's just a lot. There's a lot of things that you can see in this. There's a lot. There's a lot of pictures. But let's go ahead and move on to the next section. Moving on to this next section, which is really dense, and there's a lot of text, and a lot of it will make no sense to you if you haven't really played around or experimented or played as much Destiny 2. So I'm going to be kind of wrapping this up in a nutshell. I'm not going to go over every piece of information. There's going to be a bunch of information that you may want to know about this, but I'm going to give you the general synopsis of what's going on. So in this section, they describe what Armor 2.0 currently is, as well as the changes they want to make with the upcoming patch, and explain why they did the things that they did. First and foremost, if you did not know, Armor 2.0 now allows you to select any perk that you want from a set list of perks for that particular armor piece, as long as you have the energy requirement. So usually you have around from 1 to 10 energy blocks that you can fill up by upgrading your armor piece, allowing you to equip more perks with higher value across the board. The thing that was very important with this is allowing higher value items not to just completely trump all of the lower value. This new system allows the higher value perks like Enhanced Hand Cannon Loader not to just completely trump some of the lower value ones like the regular Hand Cannon Loader. And this is not just for the ones that have enhancements. Sometimes there'll be perks that are just better than other perks, and they wanted to make it so those perks just had a smaller energy cost so that they had a similar value proposition as other perks. On top of that, there's something else that maybe many of you haven't actually noticed, is that there are certain perks that are actually type branded. So you may have noticed some of them are marked with a solar, arc, or void symbol, only allowing you to use them on armor pieces that actually have that energy type. For example, an arm piece can drop as either solar, arc, or void, and that marks it to only allow those specific perks to land on them, on top of the general perks which can actually land on any one of them. And in most cases, some of these are exclusive to that particular types. For example, a solar arms may have Hand Cannon Loader, whereas the other arms, the Arc and Void, may not have Hand Cannon Loader. Now, I don't know if Hand Cannon Loader is actually on the Solar. This is just an example. In other cases, they might be cheaper, where the Hand Cannon Loader on the Solar arms might cost 2 if it's a Solar Hand Cannon Loader, and if it's a regular Hand Cannon Loader base, it'll be 4 cost. So the general idea by the end of the season is you want to get at least one of each armor type so that you can experiment and have the full breadth of everything that you can do across all the different armor types. And that's the basic idea of what I understand from a lot of what's going on here. Now, there's a lot of extra little pieces of information that they talk about. For example, the range of each type of weapon that can be in certain armor pieces. They wanted to have a good mix of primary, special, and power weapons across each each section. They also mention you can also have mod stacking. For example, you can have identical mods with diminishing return. For example, 2 hand cannon loaders don't provide twice the benefit, but they do provide the benefit of 1.5 times. There's a bunch of miscellaneous information and whatnot, so they're talking about throughout this thing that I'm not going to go over in detail, but if you want to know more about this, there is a lot of information here, but I'm not going to go over every little bit in detail because, like I said, it's really dense, a lot of stuff going on. Moving on to this next section, which is near the end of the video. Actually, you can see the Dr. Bungie over here. The last section before Dr. Bungie is mentioning Fashion Week. Basically, they want you to dress up your Guardian in the best look that you can possibly do and submit it on Bungie.net or reply to their Fashion Week tweet on Twitter of basically showing off your best looking Guardian they can possibly pull off. Something that I would mention might be important is that Halloween is right around the corner as far as their events go. You got the mask from last season, that might be a bonus, who knows. But if you do end up getting chosen, you get this exclusive emblem that only the people who win Fashion Week can actually get. They're going to be picking a lot of winners though, so you'll see next TWAB, there's going to be a bunch of them. Moving on to the bottom section here, Dr. Bungie headed up by the blue section of the top, talking about the hotfixes, known updates, some issues, and whatnots, as well as the next upcoming patch. However, obviously in this patch we're talking about, or this TWAB, we're talking about the patch in its entirety, so this is just extra reiterated and miscellaneous detail. First and foremost, there actually was a hotfix that they released 2 days ago. That's why people are having some trouble logging in for the first hour. That's why my reset video was, in fact, I just looked over and I saw the Fashion Week tweet just go out right now. I just wanted to mention that. I just saw it, I just caught my eye. But this is going to be about the hotfix that they released on Tuesday, and this is the stuff they fixed. Apparently there's an issue with the servitor spawning in Gofanon that would crash the game. There's an issue with the Nightmare Hunt Time Trial Master Triumph that would not progress correctly, but there's no Nightmare Master Hunts anyways. Apparently there's an issue with the Nightfall The Ordeal, the thing that was out of 5, not the 100k part, where it would not drop a powerful reward if you've already completed the Vanguard Strikes or vice versa. One of them counted for the other one for some reason. And then lastly, apparently there was an issue with the Moon Rally Banners and Tire game where they're not activating properly and deactivating early or whatever. This next section is all about PC migration. We've seen this many times. I'm not going to go over it. It's basically saying if you were trying to migrate from Blizzard to Steam using the wrong account, or if you're finding issues with licensing or you need your silver, there's a bunch of recommendations they recommend to you, content forum, trying again, connecting the correct Steam, stuff like that. And then lastly, some Destiny 2 known issues. This is something very important. Black Armory key mode cannot be obtained by players who did not receive it before Season 8. Very important if you want to get Izanagi's or Jotun or whatever the last stuff for the last forges. It's very important to be able to get this. Apparently there's an issue where you cannot enter the Tribute Hall if you have the invitation from the Emperor and the Golden Hero quest on multiple characters, so just delete it on the other characters if you can. And then lastly, the Warlocks wagering weak modes and Reckoning, receiving Titan armor, this stuff that they're all working on. And that is pretty much the end of the TWAB. Movies of the week are up next, and I would recommend, honestly, watch both of these. These are both fantastic. They're both like less than a minute or around a minute, and they're fantastic. A Lord Shaxx interview using the voice lines from Shaxx in a very well done mode. A juxtaposition for the Starship Troopers movie, Spider Crab that they fought with the Spider Tank in Destiny 2. I think they're both excellently done, and I highly recommend you check out both of them. Link in the description down below for the actual TWAB. But that is pretty much it. That's the end of the Bungie TWAB. Let me know in the comments down below if there's something I missed, or if you had questions and concerns. I'd be more than happy to help you out. That's it. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name's been Dychronic, and I will see you guys on the next one.